Have you ever heard of a place that simply refuses to be erased? A place so stubborn, so resilient, that it defies every attempt to tear it down? Today, we're diving into the mystery of the house that just won't die. They've burned it, bulldozed it, even tried to bury it. Yet it still stands. Tucked away in a forgotten corner of the world, there's a structure that has become more than just wood and nails. It's a legend. Locals whisper its name with a mix of fear and awe. They say it's cursed, haunted, or protected by something beyond our understanding. But what's the real story behind this indestructible enigma? Imagine this. A demolition crew arrives, their heavy machinery ready to turn the derelict building into a pile of rubble. They start their work, but engines mysteriously fail. Chainsaws refuse to start. One story even tells of a crane that toppled over for no apparent reason, its arm bent as if pushed back by an unseen hand. These aren't just isolated incidents. They're part of a pattern that spans decades. Let's go back to the beginning. The house was built in the late 1800s by a reclusive family known for their strange beliefs. They were said to practice old-world rituals, and rumors swirled that they'd imbued the very foundation of the house with a protective spell. After the family vanished without a trace, the house sat empty, a silent sentinel on the edge of town. The first attempt to remove it was in the 1950s. The town council wanted to clear the land for a new development. They sent a crew with dynamite. The charges were set, the warning sounded, but when the dust settled, the house was still there, singed and scarred, but defiantly intact. The explosion had inexplicably been redirected, blowing out a massive crater around the house, leaving its foundation untouched. The workers, spooked and unnerved, refused to go back. A few years later, a fire broke out. Flames engulfed the structure, lighting up the night sky. Firefighters battled the blaze for hours, but it was relentless. By morning, everyone expected to find a smoldering pile of ash. Instead, they found the house, blackened and charred, but its frame was still standing strong. The interior was gutted, yet the core structure seemed almost mocking in its survival. People started to believe the house was more than just unlucky. It was actively resisting its own demise. This is where the stories get even stranger. Locals began sharing their own unsettling experiences. Teenagers who dared to enter on a dare would speak of disembodied whispers, doors slamming shut on their own, and a chilling feeling of being watched. One tale describes a group who tried to camp inside, only to be chased out by what they described as a shadowy figure that moved through the walls. They claimed the house wasn't just standing, it was alive. In the 1980s, a new developer, unimpressed by local folklore, bought the land. He was a man of logic and reason, determined to succeed where others had failed. He brought in the biggest, most powerful bulldozers available. The first day was a disaster. One machine's hydraulic lines burst, spraying fluid everywhere. Another slid into a ditch that hadn't been there the day before. The lead operator quit on the spot, claiming he heard a voice from the house itself, warning him to leave. Frustrated but not defeated, the developer ordered the house to be buried. If he couldn't knock it down, he'd hide it from sight. For weeks, dump trucks brought tons of earth, piling it up and over the stubborn structure until it was completely submerged under a man-made hill. For a while, it seemed like the saga was finally over. The hill was seeded with grass, and the town slowly forgot about the house that lay beneath. But the house wasn't done. A few years later, after a season of unusually heavy rains, a massive sinkhole opened up on the hill. And there, revealed in the muddy chasm, was the roof of the house. It had not collapsed under the weight of the earth. It was as if the ground itself had rejected it, spitting it back out. The sight was so bizarre, so impossible, that it cemented the house's legendary status. So, what's really going on here? Is it a ghost, a curse, or something we can explain with science? Skeptics have proposed a few theories. One idea points to the geology of the area. The house might be built on an incredibly dense, stable bedrock formation, a kind of geological anchor that makes its foundation almost immovable. This could explain why explosions are deflected and why it resists demolition. The stability of the ground could make it resistant to the kind of vibrations and force that would normally bring a building down. Another theory suggests a combination of poor maintenance and confirmation bias. Perhaps the demolition equipment was old and prone to failure. Maybe the fire wasn't as intense as people remember. Once a story takes root, every subsequent mishap, no matter how mundane, gets added to the legend. A stalled engine isn't just a mechanical failure. It's the house fighting back. It's a classic case of a folktale feeding on itself, growing with each retelling. But these logical explanations don't quite cover everything. They don't explain the whispers, the shadowy figures, or the uncanny feeling of dread that so many visitors report. They don't explain how a house can survive being buried and then reappear. Could there be something more? Some believe the house sits on a confluence of electromagnetic energy lines, a ley line, which could cause equipment malfunctions and even mild hallucinations. This brings us back to the original family and their supposed rituals. Did they know something about the land? Did they choose this specific spot for a reason, tapping into some natural or unnatural force to protect their home forever? The line between myth and fact becomes incredibly blurry. We're left with a collection of impossible stories and a handful of plausible, yet incomplete scientific theories. The house still stands today, a silent monument to its own mystery. It's a place where the rules of the world seem to bend, where logic fails and folklore takes over. It's a reminder that no matter how much we think we understand, there are still things that defy explanation. Whether it's protected by a powerful curse, anchored by a geological anomaly, or simply the star of a self-perpetuating legend, one thing is certain. This house refuses to be forgotten. It has fought against fire, dynamite, and even the earth itself, and it has won every time. What do you think is the secret behind its resilience? Let me know your theories in the comments below. And if you enjoy diving into the world's greatest unsolved mysteries, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more strange and fascinating stories. Thanks for watching, and stay curious.